Hey Lori, it's been quite some time. How have you been? I can't believe it's been 7 years already. I can't tell if the time goes by quickly or slowly.
Who is this?
It's me, Thomas. Maybe you couldn't recognize because of my new ID.
Who?
It's Thomas. You know, your ex-boyfriend? Or maybe should I have said, it's Thomas, the love of your life?
Give me a break. I don't have time for this.
Oh, come on. Don't be so mean.
What do you want?
I thought that maybe you wanted to be my girlfriend again.
Excuse me?
It's a great offer, right?
How?
Ha.
7 years ago, when I was 26, you dumped me over an 18-year-old new graduate. Telling me that I was getting too old and it was freaking you out.
Well, I was still young back then.
Yeah, says the guy 5 years older than me.
Men and women have different perspectives concerning age. Men in their mid-20s are in their prime of manhood. Whereas women in their mid-20s are kinda overwhelming.
Then why do you want to get back with me then? Just a reminder that I happen to be 33 now. Don't tell me you're thinking the time has somehow stopped. And I'm still the same 26-year-old or something.
Of course not. You really like to make jokes, don't you? Reminds me of the old days.
Are you done now?
Ha.
I have no interest in getting back with you. So everything's clear now, right?
Hold on a second. It's been so long, there's so much we have to catch up with.
There's literally nothing I want to share with you.
Oh, come on. Why can't we just look back at the good times, you know?
What if I said that I don't want to?
You're so cold, Lori. Although that is one of the reasons why I find you so attractive.
You're a creep.
Anyway, I heard that you got transferred to a different branch after we split up. You're transferred to the New York branch, right?
Yes, and?
I just wanted to tell you that I also moved to New York right after we broke up. You know, with that girl.
Yes, I already knew that.
Oh, you did?
Why wouldn't I? Having literally worked in the same building, on the same floor? That girl you dumped me over, her name was Rose, right? I remember that day when you both resigned on the same day, telling your boss that you'll be moving to New York together. To build a love nest there, was it?
Did we look that happy together?
It was honestly embarrassing to watch.
Jealous, were you? I'm so sorry to hear about that. But I have to admit, that's kinda cute, you being jealous.
Seriously?
You just couldn't get me out of your mind even after all these years, could you?
I was just appalled at your behavior, really. With how you just skipped out like a child right after turning in your resignation form.
Oh come on, I was young back then.
You were 31.
Anyway, it's all in the past now. I've become a whole different person. So you don't have to worry about anything.
I couldn't care less about how you're doing right now.
Oh, you don't have to be shy. Even though it's cute when you get shy and kinda try to toughen up, you know?
Can you get to your point now?
What?
Why did you message me?
What do you mean?
It's been more than 7 years since we broke up. You were the one who dumped me back then, telling me I was getting too old for you. And now you just reappear out of nowhere and ask me to get back with you. I'm 33 now. Nothing makes sense here.
I'm just tired of young girls now, you know? We don't share any interests. And we have completely different perspectives on everything. And don't share the same sense of money either. And last but not least, she cheated on me.
Poor you.
Rose told me she prefers men around the same age as her. Apparently old men like me can't satisfy her as well in bed.
Rose is 25 now, right? And you're 38. I guess the age difference really hit her hard. Especially with the physical aspects.
So yeah, I know it sounds kinda pathetic, but we recently just broke up.
Right.
So I thought I might as well use this opportunity to get back with you, you know? I mean, we're both in our 30s and we don't have that big of an age difference. Anyway, you're already 33 and past your prime. That makes you quite nervous, doesn't it? So don't you think it's about time that you thought about getting married too?
So that's why you suddenly message me telling me to get back with you?
This must be the best offer you've ever had, right? Okay, so everything's sorted out now. You can give me your address so I can head there straight away.
Why?
Because we're going to start living together from today.
I'm already married.
Lori, you don't have to hold back your feelings. I know you're happy to hear from me.
I really am not, actually.
You don't have to be shy. Just accept everything. I know that it must have been hard for you to have kept waiting for me to come back for the past 7 years. But I can make you forget all the loneliness in you. And make you feel much better in just one night.
You are such a creep.
Oh, come on, seriously? Just be true to yourself, Lori. Tell me everything you've been wanting to tell me for all these years. Everything you've kept within your heart. Just let it all out.
God, you're such a freak.
What?
A freak.
Lori, is it that hard for you to just be true to your own feelings?
Oh no.
I am. I'm being damn honest here. But you just keep interpreting everything I say completely differently.
That can't be true. I'm willing to be with you, even though you're now just an old woman. You don't want to die alone, do you?
That's nothing of your concern.
It is my concern. That's why I'm telling you that we should get back together. So just say yes, okay?
Did you not read the part where I told you I was married?
What kind of guy would be willing to marry a 33-year-old woman?
It's been 7 years, I've moved on. It's not that uncommon these days for women to get married in their 30s.
But that doesn't apply to you. You wanted me, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Huh.
Did someone tell you that? That I've been waiting for you this whole time after we broke up?
What?
Where did all that information come from?
Well, we have a strong connection. So there's no need to ask anybody about it.
A strong connection? I'm telling you, that's long gone, ever since the day we broke up.
Oh, please.
Let me make this clear, okay? I'm married.
It's not the time for jokes, Lori.
I have 3 kids.
What? You have kids? 3 of them?
So now you're surprised.
Why would you do that? You had kids with another guy even though you love me? That's insane. I know you were scared of getting old. But you didn't have to lie to yourself.
How many times do I have to tell you? I don't have feelings for you anymore.
What?
You're just somebody that I used to know.
That can't be.
I wouldn't even consider getting back with you even. If we were the only two people left on the planet.
Wait.
You really ought to get your brain checked, you know?
How could this happen? I don't have anywhere to live.
What do you mean?
Ever since I quit my previous job and came to New York, I'd been having a hard time finding a new one. But for Rose, it took her only 1 month to get a new job. And everything was going great for her. It might be because she's so young. But she really didn't find it hard to adapt to the new city life, you know? And I started to feel left out. I felt ashamed, insecure, and didn't want to leave the house anymore.
So technically, you've been struggling this whole time. You isolated yourself in the house while watching Rose work all day. So eventually, she broke up with you and asked you to leave.
I wouldn't phrase it like that, but
Then how else am I supposed to phrase it? You are struggling.
don't call me that.
I bet you didn't even try to get a new job or support Rose in any way. So she probably couldn't see a future with you. And didn't think you were the right man for her. Therefore, she ended the relationship. Makes perfect sense to me. I shouldn't be the one saying this. But I'm surprised she put up with you for 7 years.
But
You know you're almost 40, right?
huh,
You're an unemployed 38-year-old man. Who's not even trying to search for a new job. That's pretty embarrassing. Or is there any special reason why you can't search for a job?
well, not really, but
If there's no way out, why don't you just go back to your parents' house for now?
I haven't contacted them ever since I left my previous job to go to New York. They really didn't like that idea back then.
Then why don't you just find a new job in New York then?
But it's been so long. I don't know what kind of job I'm capable of.
You're 38 for heaven's sake, grow up.
But I still don't have anywhere to live right now. Oh, do you think you can let me stay at your house for the meantime?
Are you insane?
I know your husband might not be fond of the idea. But I promise I won't bother anyone. Can you give me your address?
Why would I let you stay with us?
Huh,
Not in a million years that's gonna happen.
but
Anyway, I don't live in New York anymore.
what? Why?
I moved to my husband's hometown when we got married.
You gotta be kidding me. What am I supposed to do from here?
It was ridiculous of you to ask your ex-girlfriend for help in the first place.
But
If you have the time to complain, go to the Public Employment Security Office. Even when Thomas and I were still dating 7 years ago, I remember there were certain moments where he would shock me with his ridiculous behavior. But it's fascinating, even after all these years, he hasn't changed one bit. If not, he's gotten even worse. Apparently, after that, he contacted his parents. And it seems that he mentioned my name to them. And soon after, his mother called my parents. She begged them that if I still cared for him, I should be willing to help him out with the situation. I had told everything about Thomas to my parents back in the day. So my father just simply told her to advise Thomas to grow up and cut the nonsense. A few days later, my parents received an apology call from her. Thomas went back to his hometown and had to live with his uncle, who used to be a gym teacher. His uncle insisted that Thomas needed a big attitude adjustment. Apparently, he now works part-time, which involves a lot of physical labor under the supervision of his uncle. Hey, Richard. Another slip-up at work, I assume? How many times this month? You need to get it together. Seriously, cut me some slack.
Marie, I don't need this from you right now. I already feel terrible about it.
Well, it's consequences for your actions.
No. Honestly, it wasn't my mistake.
What are you saying?
I did everything correctly on my end. Someone down the line altered the report. The blame should be on them, not me. But because I was in charge of the project, it fell on me. No matter how much I explained, they didn't care. They said it was my responsibility because I was in charge. This situation is really frustrating.
Passing the blame won't help you learn from this. You need to own up to your mistakes. It was your project, after all.
I understand. Lately, it feels like no matter what I do.
You know what? Since we live in a company apartment in the company housing complex, if you mess up, it reflects poorly on me as well. Everything we do affects each other. Even though I don't work for your company, I'm constantly around its employees, and they all know me.
I get it. I'm not happy about what happened.
What I'm trying to say is, if you mess up again, I'm considering divorce.
What?
I can't handle it anymore. Plus, your manager's wife, Mrs. Ortiz, has been complaining about me again.
She wouldn't complain without a good reason.
What's this? Are you taking her side now?
It's not that. It's just. She mentored me and helped me advance in my career before she retired. You always challenge her even when she's clearly right.
She's acting all high and mighty because of her role in the company housing. She acts like my landlord and nitpicks every little thing I do. She thinks she's superior, but she's not.
Back when she worked here, she was respected by all employees, male or female.
I don't care about that. She shouldn't blame me for something that isn't my fault.
Well, I'm facing criticism for a mistake I didn't make. And you told me to take responsibility.
I don't want to hear excuses. Oh, by the way, I won't be coming home tonight.
Where are you going?
Why do you need to know? Just stay out of it.
Hold on a second.
You'll just be upset and thinking about work all night anyway. Goodbye.
Hey, Marie.
Oh, what's this? The person who made another significant mistake at work and got fired wants to talk to me?
I'm aware of everything that's been happening up to this point. You're with the owner of the company, Mr. Sanders, aren't you? You've been unfaithful to me this entire time. Leave it to you to do something like this behind my back.
So, you finally figured it out? You're not too sharp, so it was pretty easy. Dilly is quite perceptive. He was right about you.
Dilly?
That's what I call Dylan. You know, Mr. Sanders, the company owner. It's my pet name for him. By the way, he calls me Nanny.
That's unpleasant. I don't care what you call each other.
Like I mentioned earlier. The next time you mess up at work, I'm divorcing you. So, I expect you to sign those divorce papers for me now. If you try to make the divorce difficult, I won't pay you compensation money.
I need that money. That compensation money will compensate for the company's loss due to my mistake. I won't have anything left for myself. I know you did this to me intentionally. None of these mistakes were truly mine. You two were setting me up the whole time. You're both so cruel.
Huh? You're the victim here. So, you should be relieved you won't end up in debt because of it.
I'm not the victim just because you were cheating with the owner of the company. You may have caught me in your trap, but I'm not gaining or losing much, so. Anyway, I'll make the divorce straightforward for you.
Oh, how about that? I'm so pleased. As long as I can marry Dilly, then everything's fine. And that means you're left all by yourself. Oh, this is great. Hey, so tell me. How does it feel? You got fired from work. And you lost me. All on the same day. You've lost everything. How does it feel?
Oh, don't worry about me. You should be more concerned about yourself.
Huh?
Dylan got divorced at 41, and he's been single ever since. He's 48 now and still single. Do you have any idea why?
Oh, that? Well, obviously it's because he was in love with me.
Is that what Dylan told you?
That's right. The year I married you, there was that company barbecue we went to. When was that? About 5 years ago. I only went because you were allowed to bring your family. And you basically dragged me there. I'm glad I went now, though. I guess I was only 24 back then. But that's the first time I met your boss, Dylan. It was love at first sight. We exchanged contact info that day, and just 1 month later he and I were.
You started cheating right after we got married, and you've been doing it for 5 years. So, that's why we didn't have any children, huh? You did it on purpose, didn't you?
Of course. If we had kids, it would have complicated the divorce. I'm so happy now. I can have Dylan's children. I'll have as many as he wants me to. And I'll finally be the wife of a successful business owner. That Mrs. Ortiz thinks she's so great. But her husband is just a high-ranking manager. Soon, I'll be even better than her. My husband will be the owner of the whole company.
Oh, so that's what this is about. Look, I didn't want to see you again. So I already filled out the divorce papers and gave them to Dylan to give to you. Just sign them and submit them. I'm sure you'll see Dylan soon.
Oh, wow. You're on the ball for once.
I rushed to City Hall on my lunch break to get the divorce papers. I wanted to sever all ties with someone like you as quickly as possible.
Oh, say whatever you want about me. I'll review the papers and sign them after work when I see Dylan. I'll submit the papers tonight. You can submit paperwork to City Hall even when they're closed.
Oh, well, that's great, then. You won't be returning to the company housing apartment, right? I'll be moving my belongings out this week. So I'll leave everything else up to you and the company.
Okay, okay. Well, goodbye. Richard? How are you holding up?
What?
It's been quite a while, hasn't it?
What do you want?
Please, let's not be so distant, okay?
For years ago, who was the one acting cold and causing problems between us?
I deeply regret that. You remember when you advised me to be concerned back then. I understand your point now. Dilly's first wife couldn't bear the way his mother treated her, so she left him.
Yeah, and I can imagine Dylan's mother is targeting you now.
Exactly. On top of that, I had already been divorced once before marrying Dylan. She keeps reminding me of that. Plus, I've only had daughters. So she's upset about not having a grandson as the heir to Dylan's company. And Dilly is swamped trying to save his business, leaving me to deal with her alone. Everything's falling apart. I see. By the way, you're aware that Dylan's company is on the brink of bankruptcy, right?
Yes, I'm aware.
I've heard you've been doing exceptionally well where you are now. You've been promoted multiple times, right?
I suppose. I'm now the sales director for the entire company.
You've managed to climb so high after being fired just 4 years ago. It's impressive.
So what's your point?
I was thinking, maybe we should get back together.
What?
You're doing so well now. You deserve a partner, don't you? How about me? I have experience being a CEO's spouse.
Absolutely not. Not even if you were the last person on Earth.
But this time, we could have children together. Apparently, I conceive easily. Conception wouldn't be an issue at all. I could have your child right away.
I've had more than my fill of you already.
Please, don't say that.
I'm already married, and I have children, so.
What? Are you serious?
I have to ask. From the way you're acting. You have no clue why your husband's company is struggling, do you?
Huh?
It all began 4 years ago. After I got fired, Mr. Ortiz left as well, didn't he?
Yes.
And after that, more and more employees left, didn't they?
I don't have all the details. But I heard that many families left the company housing complex around that time. Why? Do you know something about it?
Mr. Ortiz started his own company.
What? His own company?
Yes, a direct competitor to Dylan's company.
Competing with him.
Dylan was jealous of Mr. Ortiz because Mr. Ortiz was so good. It made him feel inferior. He was holding Mr. Ortiz back and not utilizing his full potential. Mr. Ortiz understood that with Dylan as the owner, the company's future didn't look promising.
He foresaw this happening to Dylan's business?
When all those employees left Dylan's company, it was because they wanted to work for Mr. Ortiz's company. Actually, he offered me a job at his new company just before I got fired. Although he hadn't officially launched his company at that time, he was close.
Really?
I intended to tell you, but that's when all the issues with you began. I got fired, and you divorced me.
I had no idea.
Well, I figured there was no point in telling you after all that.
But for him to transition from a department manager to starting an entire business and achieving such success in such a short time, he must be amazing, don't you think?
He's the best I've ever seen. He's always been a top performer, with a great attitude, and everyone loves him. Along with my team, our clients had tremendous faith in us. With that foundation, we were able to build up his business quite rapidly. At the same time, news of Dylan's affair with an employee's wife and his actions spread quickly. His reputation among all his clients plummeted.
Huh? That?
Dylan lost all the goodwill he had with his clients, and one by one, they shifted to our company. They wanted a trustworthy company with people of good reputation.
So, then. What about Mrs. Ortiz?
Oh, that's right. She's still married to Mr. Ortiz. So she's not just the wife of a successful business owner. She's now the wife of the #1 business owner in this entire city in this industry.
I can't believe this. You're lying. She can't be. After I waited so long to marry Dilly, I was supposed to be the wife of a successful business owner. I thought I had surpassed her. I was supposed to be better than her.
It's like you've been living under a rock.
Huh?
You have no idea what's happening in the world around you.
What?
Let me put it in simpler terms for you. You're not cut out to be the wife of anyone successful.
How dare you?
What? Do you think you can argue with that? Reflect on it, and you'll see the main reason why Dylan's company went under.
You don't mean. You're terrible.
Oh, and one more thing. It's already been decided that Mr. Ortiz's company will be taking over Dylan's company.
A takeover.
Well, let's be polite and call it a merger. So, Dylan is going to step down as the owner.
You're lying.
Don't worry. We found a new position for him for the time being. But due to everything that's happened with him so far, he's only going to be making about 1/5 of his old salary.
It's decreasing that much.
And because of this merger, not too far from now, Mr. Ortiz and I will be heading in your direction. I suggest you prepare yourself. Following that, we merged with Dylan's company. Initially, the employees from Dylan's company had concerns about how they'd be treated, considering they were being absorbed into another company. However, many of Dylan's company employees recognized Mr. Ortiz when they saw him. After several meetings and discussions with the employees, the atmosphere in their office improved, and it returned to business as usual. Dylan had inherited his company from his father, and because he couldn't sustain it, he felt a deep sense of guilt over what had transpired, leading to a change of heart. However, Marie had a different perspective. She willingly relinquished custody of her daughters to Dylan and initiated divorce proceedings. She promptly embarked on a quest to find a wealthy man to marry. Given her disposition, along with her previous divorces and children, it's uncertain how successful she'll be in that endeavor.